Going on, guys? We made it. Day number 30 of the Merch Focus 30. This is officially the end, kind of final recap video. Took a few days to just kind of reset, but I wanted to come back with an update about how this process went and just give you guys kind of the lowdown on everything, the sales, the numbers we did, what I learned, what didn't work, and kind of what we're going to be doing going ahead for the future. So that being said, thanks again for following along. Subscribe for more videos down the road because I am going to be continuing to create content. And obviously, if you guys liked the Merch Focus 30 or have any recommendations of your own, or you plan to start your own Merch Focus 30, let me know down below in the comments. And of course, give me a like, little thumbs up. I appreciate it. So let's get right into it, guys. So I actually just went back and rewatched my day number 1 video just to see what my kind of goals were, where my mindset was. And down in the description, I'm going to put actually links to kind of all of the videos chronologically, or maybe just like the first few so you guys can find those and start there. But just to kind of get into it, what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of break things down for you. So first we'll start at shirts. So last month when we started this, about 30 days ago, I was still at tier 500 where I am right now. And I had 100 live shirts. It was like just a few under, I think maybe around 97. And my goal was to essentially max out my uploads, hopefully triggering a tier up to tier 1000. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get there exactly, but we definitely got a lot closer than where we were. So we went from starting at around 97 shirts uploaded and live to now we're about 200 or about 300. So, and during that time, I think I had maybe, let me look at my notes, 30 shirts were taken down. So, all in all, we ended up adding about 230 new live t-shirts. We did have one rejection in there as well, so some funky stuff, but we're going to call it 230. So we went from having 100 shirts to now we have 300. So definitely increased the number of designs live by a ton, and that was kind of the primary goal of this whole thing. And again, I know I keep saying this in all my videos, but I still have another like 50 to 100, it's like, I don't know, 75 shirts my designer's given me that I just need to go and spend the time actually uploading. So hopefully I'll get around to doing that later today. So that's kind of the first thing I wanted to go over. Now the next thing is sales. So what really everyone cares about, which is the sales numbers. Now when we first started this, so right now it's officially July, but let's see, May, I had to think about it for a second. May, so we closed May out at 13 shirts sold. We actually sold 14 and then we had one return. So that's kind of where we came from. And just to show you guys where we are, so 13 shirts in May. And then this last month, so during the Merch Focus 30, we closed out at 22 shirts. We actually did 23 and had one cancellation, so kind of the same deal as the previous month. So we went from 13 sold t-shirts to 22 sold t-shirts. So about a 70% increase in t-shirt sales, which is awesome. I'm definitely excited about that. And the crazy thing, guys, is if you actually notice, we're only a few days into July right now. Today's, I think, the 7th. Yeah, today's July 7th. I've already done 10 t-shirts sold so far. So my numbers are actually exploding going into this month. And so it seems, a lot of what I've preached on the other videos is that the work that you do, the results might not show up for 1, 2, 3 weeks. And that is, again, totally the case right now. A lot of these t-shirts are just starting to get traction and start selling. So that's something that's really, really exciting. So now as far as income goes, we closed May out with just a meager $6.30 in actual royalties. You guys can see that in my first video. But this month we actually went from $6.30 to, oops, not in there, to $35.43. So more than a 400% increase in royalties as well. And that was a lot of back and forth for me deciding whether the better move was to keep it low, keep royalties and income low, or to increase. So some of my t-shirts are priced more towards what the market is. Some are priced super low for low-hanging fruit, and some of the ones that have been selling, I've just started to move up. So I think the royalties are just going to continue actually increasing and with ultimate goal kind of to get around the $4 to $5 range per t-shirt sold. So we did have a solid increase in the actual income. Okay, now let's talk about the costs, because this is obviously an important thing. So I'm going to go over to the Excel real quick, and let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. So costs on this, guys. Now in total, I've totaled it all out. So $632 is what I invested in the business this month. Just to break everything down really quick, we had $16.99, so 17 bucks for Merch Informer. To get our designer, we had to do kind of our design test period, and that cost us about $32 for that. And then really the only other crazy big costs were the actual designs themselves. So I got him to do I think it's near, let me try to count this stuff real quick. Okay, so it was like roughly 200 t-shirts that were actually designed. There's a few that aren't on here yet. And we were paying him about $2.90 for each t-shirt, plus I incurred some costs through PayPal as well. So all in, we invested $632.55 this month versus our $35.43 return. Now, the way to look at this and the way that I look at it mindset-wise is that this was definitely an investment. And first rule of business is to never lose money. And second rule is not to forget rule number one. So while I was seeing this outflow, I got a little bit creative as well. And, this is something that I don't necessarily say is everyone is going to do, but I saw that I was spending money, but I had this asset, I had this amazing designer, and so I actually got my designer to do some logo work for a few companies that I do like some small consulting gigs with, and that actually came back around, and I made about $250 in additional income to kind of offset these fees. So I didn't put that on here, guys, but that did kind of help me. So I think two of these designs were for companies with some revisions thrown in there, and that actually did help offset my fees. So my overall goal for the month was to invest around or less than $500. We definitely went over that, but going forward, we're not going to have the design test period with the expensive designs here. So that's going to be cut out, and then going to be looking for ways to kind of minimize these PayPal fees and find, an alternative way of sending money to my actual designer himself. So that's it as far as the investment right now. And yeah, the one other thing I was going to say on that is that the other thing to consider, guys, is that all of these designs that we're getting right now, I only have them listed on Merch. So I haven't even taken them off Merch to other platforms, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, main page, Amazon, Seller Central, Redbubble, Teespring. So imagine now I take all those assets that are now producing me this, income each month on Merch, and now I cross-list those to every other platform. Even if we, get that up to another $50 on the side and, following kind of the growth here where this month we've already done $14. So hopefully we're going to close out around $50. The way that I look at this is I'm going to recoup this specific investment in probably about 4 months or so. Plus now I have full ownership over these digital assets that I can push out to all these other platforms. And I think honestly, you could recoup that a lot quicker, getting creative with where you list those and how you do it, or increased royalties as well. So I think this was well worth it for the first month. And it's $632 to invest in a business is pretty low startup costs, especially when you factor in that you're receiving income from that business immediately, and it continues to pay out over coming months. So, and we're also going into fourth quarter. So anyway, that's it on that. So next thing I wanted to jump into is kind of the things that we learned from this process. So not the pure numbers side of the business, but what else happened during this 30-day period for me and for my kind of print-on-demand business. So the first one was obviously we got all our tools in place. And I'm going to do another video kind of refining and talking about the tool stack that I use towards the end of this and how my tools kind of evolved over it. But the main ones, obviously, Merch Informer, Jungle Scout, using sites like Upwork and OnlineJobs.ph, which I've talked about in a lot of videos, and I'll put links to all of these resources down below. But the USPTO website, TM Hunt, all of these tools were things that we really got to kind of deep dive in with over the last 30 days and learn in depth. So that was kind of another cool byproduct, I guess, of this 30-day focus period, is that it forced me to actually say, hey, look, I need to get good at these tools. I'm watching other people's YouTube videos who are using these tools really well, taking deep dives, taking notes. Like, I kid you guys not, I have pages and pages of notes in here as well. So, I'm a constant learner with this stuff. So the tool stack got built out. And then the next thing is building out the process. So I think that is by far kind of the most critical thing that this month, allowed me to do, is to essentially take my business and start kind of automating it. So I created my different systems, whether, that's taking everything from research and doing research in a few different ways that I have, and then taking that into, now using the templates that I have. So an Excel spreadsheet and these different Google Drive docs to actually lay everything out for my designer, so my designer can come in one place, design, and then upload the design, and then I literally just have to take the design, plug it back in, upload it, and input the keywords that I found from my research stage, check everything against TM Hunt, and then pretty much push my t-shirt live. And then I even get kind of into the deeper side just towards the end of this whole process, where I learned about, these creative ways to actually market the t-shirts, whether that's with Pinterest or with Amazon Spark, Amazon Explore, some of the things that I've talked about in other videos. So those are kind of all the things that, I built out. So everything from literally from the research process to outsourcing design to actually listing, marketing, and making sales with the t-shirts. And now I think, I can go off of that and I can actually start to tweak and optimize that process a lot more. And then also take that experience and say, okay, what are the other things in here that I can potentially outsource? And obviously there's a lot of people out there that are talking about, someone who is cross-listing to all your other platforms. And that's, so they have a product lister, not on merch because that's against the TOS, obviously, but, someone who could maybe do a bulk portion of the design research for me once I feel comfortable with that. So there's a lot of other aspects that we can start to play around with and think about actually outsourcing in the future here as well. So, and then let's see, the other few things I wanted to touch on. What didn't work this month, or what things do I think I could have improved upon? I think there's really only two big ones. The first one is obviously uploading more t-shirts. I talked to Shannon and Spencer from the Merch Lifestyle podcast about this. That, they said something that I think is really the truth of this entire business model, is that your sales volume is going to be in direct proportion to how many t-shirts and designs and products you actually have up and live. That is the single biggest precursor to your success with your Merch by Amazon business. Obviously, there's things you can do on top of all of that. You can do, high quality designs, making sure your listing is optimized, all that kind of stuff, keyword optimization, adding, Spark in the marketing stuff. But at the end of the day, the thing that's really the biggest precursor to my increase in sales, and I'm speaking, from my own experience here, is just that having more designs and t-shirts live is ultimately going to get you more sales. So that being said, I wish I had put even more focus on actually just purely uploading designs, purely like, creating content, creating t-shirts and uploading those, and, going forward also cross-listing to other platforms as well. So that was kind of the first big takeaway for me. And then the second big takeaway was, I guess talking about kind of expenses. This is something you collect data as you grow your business, but I think that the $2.90 that I have with my designer is a good rate. So now my kind of goal is going to be to see, can I tweak that? Can I bring it down, a little bit, or maybe we can get on some kind of program where I just hire him as a full-time person, where we set expectations of 10 designs a day, 5 days a week. And then once you're done with those, you also are going to be working on keyword research and this and this. So I guess I'm trying to also start thinking a little bit more creatively about how I can lower some of my costs, or maybe, find other ways to source designs. I've been approached by, a bunch of different creative companies that are offering, unlimited design work or this or that for merch sellers. So just kind of starting to think about that stuff a little bit more. But again, guys, these are all things that you can't really even start to think about until you have your own personal data to back up, to back that up and say, hey, look, this is my starting point. Now can I get my costs lower than this? So that's kind of what I've got on that. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the recap video. I hope you guys liked this Merch Focus 30 period. The other side effects for me was that I got to connect with a lot of cool people on here and in our Facebook group. And so, yeah, guys, please let me know, like, did you guys like this process? What kind of videos do you want to see down the road? And, you know, I highly encourage anyone who wants to do their own Merch Focus 30 period to go ahead and let me know, reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you and just kind of follow along on your process as well. And yeah, so for the future plans, the next month, we're going to continue doing videos. I'm not sure if it's going to be one every single day, but we're definitely going to be doing several videos a week, kind of taking more deep dives on different tools that I've used, trying to interview some even more high-level people, and just talking about other strategies. And the other big thing is I am going to now start putting a little bit more focus on actually listing products to other channels. And so I will continue to kind of document my process and hopefully repeat something similar to the Merch Focus 30 on those other platforms once I have a little bit of traction there and a little bit of data to kind of you know, validate those platforms and bring some of that knowledge back to you guys. So with that being said, guys, please let me know how you liked this. Leave a like, a comment below, and obviously the Facebook group, I cannot express like how important that is. It's going to be linked down below in the description, but join the Facebook group. That's where we're all like congregating, talking more in depth about these ideas, about problems we're facing, all of that stuff. And I am going to be putting a lot more focus on pushing out content there as well. So yeah, guys, with that being said, there's a lot of exciting things in the works, and I really do appreciate all of you guys that have been following along or commenting or giving me advice and help on this process as well. And with that being said, we will see you at our next video. Cheers.